You get the waving hands, you know it's time. What's up, LinkedIn, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm excited to do this. It's Friday, May the 22nd. Man, the month's almost over. Coming off of last week where we had some technical issues and things were glitching a little bit. Hopefully we don't get glitchy today because we want to start some real conversations again around what's happening out there in the industries that we're choosing to work in, that we're making money in. Today, we're going to talk about an industry that's near and dear to my heart, the restaurant industry, but it's not looking so good for people over there. So stick around for today's show. Let's go. All right. What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. It's May the 22nd. Super excited to be back here for another episode of BizBuzz Live. Again, I'm your host, Chris Muzan, helping you through all things finance. Those of you that have been sticking around for some time, man, we've been doing the show for a while now, right? Showing up consistently, as consistent as we can be, right? On a Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific, and having this conversation around what's happening in the industry. Again, shout out to everybody that's been around, sending me messages, commenting, reposting, sharing this content. I really think the stuff that we're talking about on here is super, super crucial for people to get to wrap their mind around. And so I know we're bringing really good value. And again, we can have some conversations around it. But the thesis, the reason why we started this show is because being in the financial services industry myself for the past 13, 14 years, I've helped thousands of people, whether they come to me with their financial question around their debt, around their savings, around their insurance, around their retirement. Like, it doesn't really matter what they come and have a conversation with me about. Eventually and inevitably, we have a cash flow conversation. We have to have a conversation around what's coming in and what's going out. Most of us in the financial space and the financial industry as a whole, I believe, has done really well with teaching people how to keep more of the money that they're making, right? How to budget, how to make sure that you're seeing where all your money is going, and the apps and the spreadsheets and all this stuff. I think we did a good job of that. Here's where I think we have not done a good job as a society, as a financial industry, as people in general, is we haven't taught people how to make money, right? If we're going to have a cash flow conversation, my chair keeps dropping. If we're going to have a cash flow conversation, then there's two parts to cash flow. It's what comes in and then what goes out. So we've handled the what goes out part. Let's talk about the how it comes in part. How we've been taught, most people have been taught, the masses, here's the formula. Go to school, get a job, get some higher education, get a better job, make sure it has benefits, put money in your 401k, get a piece of real estate, and you'll retire happily. That's been the formula for the past 50 years, right or wrong? That's been the formula. Like, if there was again, not everyone chose to take that path, but the path that was given to most people, the path that is fed to most young adults, children, adults, is what I just said. Excel in your education, get some higher education, get a associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, some certificates, get higher education. And because of that, your value will improve to the marketplace. So then jobs will pay you more money. You take the money that you make from a good job, you invest it in the stock market, in your 401k or 403b or 457. You buy a home because your home will appreciate in equity. Maybe you buy some rental property. Make sure you got some good benefits at the job, and you're going to be fine. If that doesn't pan out, if that method doesn't work in 2026, How do you make money? If that's not the goal, if that's not the thing anymore, if that's not the plan anymore, we dropped this poll here on LinkedIn a while back. We said, hey, what would you do if next month you needed to make 3,000 extra dollars? You can't work overtime hours, can't get a second job. Moral, legal, ethical. What would you go do if you needed to make $3,000, not $1 million, not 20,000 in the month? What would you do to make $3,000 if you couldn't work overtime hours or get a second job? What would you do? Most people have no idea, which leads us to the thesis of why we started BizBuzz Live, is because most people have no idea how to make money. And now we're living in a time where we're seeing prices rise. We're seeing inflation go up. The cost of living goes up, but we don't know how to make money. So our income stays the same. That's why people are complaining. We want to change things, but really the education part is, how do we go make money? What industries are making money? What business models make money? What are we good at? What are our skill sets? How do we give more value to the world? Here's a hot take for you guys. Very soon in life, people will be forced to be an entrepreneur. Like, you're going to be forced to learn a skill set and like create something for yourself, or work with a small entrepreneur. The time of like big corporation, corporate America, like 20,000 employees in a company, 10,000 employees in a company, 4,000 people in a company, those times are slowly going away. I hope you all see that by like what's happening in corporate America, what's happening with AI, all the stuff we've been talking about. That factory work is not coming back, right? Like, this isn't gonna happen. What, in my prediction, clip this up. In my prediction, what's gonna happen is we're gonna have lots of small business owners, small entrepreneurs. They used to say that like small businesses are the backbone of America. Well, it's actually true. It's just we have to have small business where we create jobs for people. But it might not be a 4,000 person company anymore. It might be you and 8 people, but you just employed 8 other people. It might be you and 12 people. You might have a team of 12, a business that runs with 12 people. And it might just be you and that 12. And all 12 of you are secure. You get paid well. You like what you do. You're like a family. That is where we're headed. People that have skill sets, that understand how to build business, there are going to be lots of small silos of businesses that are going to create the jobs that are needed for you to have income to support your family. So you either need to learn how to become an entrepreneur, how to make money, or how to be a really good number 2, number 3, how to really support, how to really show up. If you come across somebody that's got an amazing vision, you see them working hard, you know they're an entrepreneur, and like you buy into what they're doing, maybe you should join them. Instead of trying to go work for Google, and they're laying off people left and right. These big corporations laying off left and right. We used to think that was our security. Oh, let me go work for a big company that has a pension, that has the money. Like, all of our state governments are in debt, right? No pension is funded properly. All these states are losing money. So like, it doesn't even pay to like work for the county or work for your state government. Federal government's laying off people. It used to be that you could make money working for the government. That's not the case. But maybe there's somebody that you're close to, that's a friend, that's a family member, that's trying to start something, and they have an idea and they just need your expertise. Sure, you might get paid a little bit less than what they were going to pay you at Google, but the upside potential, if you help that company grow, if you actually like use your skills and help things move the needle, that entrepreneur, that's your friend, they're going to do the right things. They're going to give you your bonuses. They're going to give you your time off. They're going to increase your pay. But that's where we're headed. So we got to learn how to do that. What I was going to talk about today, though, I hate this chair. This chair is really super annoying. What we were talking about today was the fact that, like, if we picked an industry, if we just picked an industry to find out, like, what's happening in that industry, is this still an industry we should go into? Is this still an industry where we need to focus on? That can be some money made here. We have to just start looking around and start digging a little bit deeper. One of the industries that's near and dear to my heart is the restaurant space. I have a culinary background, right? I went to school for culinary arts. I worked in restaurants. Just 3 months ago, I was thinking about buying restaurants, right? Just that was my thought. Now I start doing some more research and diving in, and obviously, you start thinking about some things. They start popping up on your social media. You know how your phone listens to you, right? So I start seeing it. But what I'm seeing is, man, the restaurant industry is struggling, like many industries, right? Probably like your industry or whatever it is. It's struggling. But why is it struggling, right? Why? What's happening over there? And is this still a place that we should be spending some time thinking about, again, earning income here? Here's a couple things I'm gonna show you really quick. This was an article from Restaurant News that just came out yesterday. And it says, new report offers wake up call for restaurant industry. It says workers are feeling economic pain, with 61% skipping meals to make ends meet. That was just yesterday. It says 75% of hourly restaurant workers are living paycheck to paycheck and are forced to navigate costly choices to deal with their financial stress. This is all new. 75% of workers live in paycheck to paycheck. These are non-management workers. And it may rise up to 83%. Again, that 61% of workers report missing skipping meals in order to make ends meet. This is just an article that came out yesterday. 75% of an industry, 3/4 of an industry that's very well known, the restaurant world, is living paycheck to paycheck. No savings. I used to come from restaurants, right? They don't offer you 401ks and IRAs. There's no savings. None of that stuff. You get a bunch of cash, you blow a bunch of cash, you live check to check. Are we still getting in those industries? That's from a worker level, from a worker position. The owners of restaurants, same exact thing. I've seen a bunch of videos, owners saying how the margins are small. The margins are getting smaller. Why? Because food costs is going up. So it costs more to get those chicken wings. It costs more to get that pork belly. It costs more to buy those greens. It costs more. And if restaurants already run on thin margins, I saw a guy say that before the pandemic, right? Getting a 5 to 10% profit was good for your restaurant. And he's like, I know restaurant owners right now that are happy to break even. They're happy to just not owe anything at the end of the month. Forget about making a profit. They're just happy to, right? That they actually made, that they had enough to cover their bills, to cover their cost of their staff, to cover their cost of their goods, to cover the lights, the plates, all the stuff, right? They're just happy with that. Is that an industry you want to go into? Is that an industry that you think will make money? And again, maybe it needs a revamp. Maybe it needs some disruption. Maybe we need to do it differently in order for it to make money. But the current way that it's working, probably not working for most people. Restaurant industry, not doing great. Workers are not making money. Owners are not making money. So that could always be a challenge. You want to know another thing? Here's another article that's kind of funny. What's happening in the health space with GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic, you've heard of. The fact that this is becoming popular in our society is lowering check averages in restaurants. How about that? How about the fact that where our health system is in this country is impacting this other industry of restaurants? Because now when people are on these GLP-1 supplements or whatever they're calling them, they don't want to go out and eat. Or if they do, they don't have much of an appetite. So they're not ordering as much. So they're not getting the higher check averages. So that check average that you thought you were going to get to as a restaurant as a restaurant owner, as a server, you're not getting to. People are ordering one meal and splitting it. People are ordering just an appetizer, small salad, small thing here. And this has nothing, you couldn't see this coming. This had nothing to do with your industry. This had everything to do with the healthcare industry that's now impacting restaurants. Are we paying attention to these things, ladies and gentlemen? If we started this show by saying, hey, listen, we need to learn how to earn money. We need to learn how to make money. We can't assume that we know how to make money. We need to learn how to make it. Would the restaurant industry be an industry that you would pick to be like, oh, that's where I want to make some money? Not sure. Not sure. We got to pay attention to this type of stuff, though. We got to pay attention to actually what's happening and not just think, oh, we know, how to go to school and get good grades and get a good job. Here's the last one, last article. 49% of Americans are struggling to afford food. Half of Americans, half, are struggling to afford food. Grocery shopping habits, cutting back on restaurant spending. It says about 39% of people have said they're eating out less, and 16% of people said they stopped getting food delivered to the house. 40% of people said they're not eating out as much. Tipping has gone down. 26% of Gen Z says they don't tip for takeout. 29% say they tip less than they used to. All these things are happening, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, what are you doing if you are in the restaurant industry? If this is you, you know someone in the restaurant industry, you know a server, you know a restaurant owner, you know a manager, you know someone, that's in the industry. How are you handling it? What can we do? What are the solutions? We can highlight the problems, and I talk about this a bunch. I don't always like just highlighting the problems. Sometimes I have to. Sometimes we have to, because not everyone understands that there is an actual problem. And you never solve a problem, like you'll never look for a solution if you don't know that you have a problem. So sometimes you have to be presented like, oh, this can be a real concern, like this is a real issue. And then we have to get to, well, what are the solutions? Well, here's a couple things for you guys as solutions. Number one, right? If we're just talking about restaurants, maybe there's some disruption. Maybe things need to change. You can't change the price, the cost of goods. You can't change the price of things. You can negotiate some of it, but you can't really change the inflation or how much, again, the wings cost or this thing costs. You can't really change that. What you can change is your menu. And again, you see big corporations do it. It's not always the best thing, but like maybe you lower the portions. Maybe we don't need to eat as much. Maybe Ozempic is telling us. Maybe all these GLP-1s are saying like, hey, like you probably shouldn't eat as much. Maybe you should lower the portions. I know it sucks for the staff, it sucks for the customer, because now you might be paying similar price, maybe a little bit less, but probably similar price for less portion. By the way, that's what they're doing with all the CPG brands, all the consumer packaged goods. I just saw this, like everything, like not even just the consumer, like the things that you eat, but like the lotion that you buy went from 12 ounces to 11 ounces, but the bottle looks bigger. Right? They imagine cutting back 1 ounce on all the production of their lotion or whatever it is could probably save them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Same thing could happen in a restaurant, right? Maybe that portion size goes from, 8 ounces of rice to 6 ounces of rice. Maybe it goes from 8 ounces of protein to 6 ounces of protein. Who knows, right? But you have to pay attention to these things if you want to still win and make money in the restaurant industry. By the way, making money comes through disruption a lot of times as an entrepreneur. If you can disrupt the status quo, if you can disrupt the pattern, if you see restaurants are not working, well, how do you make it work? If you haven't, again, I think I'm going to transition some of this show into like teaching you how to be an entrepreneur, think more entrepreneurially, let's say that way. So I'm not going to give you a business course. I'm going to teach you how to think more entrepreneurially. Being an entrepreneur is a mindset. It's not necessarily just like a skill set thing. There are skills you need to know, but it's really more of how you think about life and how you think about opportunity. Here's one of the things that changes how you think. Robert Kiyosaki in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad says, right, a question opens the mind, a statement closes the mind. right? A statement closes your mind off from possibilities, from opportunities, from thinking. A question opens up your mind. So in this restaurant space, if you are an owner of the restaurant, if you're a manager, if you work there and you're like, man, it's dead, it's slow, cost of goods are too high, people aren't coming in, Ozempic's taking our business. Whatever you're saying, those are statements. Closes your mind. You don't think anymore. Now you just think everything's a problem. But if you switched how you thought about it and said, what if you changed all those things into questions? How could we make this restaurant better? How could we become more profitable? How could we use this GLP-1 hype to like promote our restaurant? How could we? If you ask the question, your brain has to go to work trying to figure out the answer. There's always a solution. You're going to see it, right? I'm having this conversation with you in May of 2026. Restaurant industry is not doing well. Whenever that time comes and somebody comes and disrupts it and says, oh, this is the model that works now. Just like in the pandemic, right? When we're going through it, DoorDash and Uber Eats and cloud kitchens became big. Like the cloud kitchen, let's just talk about that because Uber Eats is still big and DoorDash is still big. Obviously, it got bigger then. But like cloud kitchens became a thing in the pandemic. That wasn't a thing before. It was tested probably, but it wasn't a thing. Now, cloud kitchens are a thing. You can just set up a kitchen, right? Have a standardized recipe and your brand could be all over the country if you wanted to because you have a cloud kitchen. That was an innovation, a disruption inside of a model that wasn't working. Made a bunch of money. I don't know what it's doing now, right? But back then it was doing something. Same thing's going to happen again. Someone's going to figure out, oh, this needs to change. Oh, well, if we just did this, if we just, one of my things in restaurants is the single item menu or like the specified menu, right? A menu that only has 5 items, 8 items. One of the examples I use is like a mac and cheese restaurant. Like all they serve is macaroni and cheese. Like you can create the toppings and stuff. You could put like a different meat on it, but like it's just mac and cheese. Like I'm coming here because that's it. So my food costs can be lower because I just need noodles and milk and cheese and some toppings, right? I'm not going to deviate. I'm not going to start going into sandwiches and need bread and other things. Like maybe that's a solution. Maybe that's a solution. So that's one solution for you guys. Again, if you're in this industry and you're thinking about how, right, what are the solutions? Well, you can just disrupt the industry. You can just change. You can do something completely different. Don't do things in the norm. Do things differently, and you might be able to make money that way. Okay? Here's another thing. You got to upgrade your skill sets. I've said this before, but I'll constantly say it. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're trying to do, if we're thinking about how do we go make money, how do we change enough to earn income, we have to upgrade our skill sets. You make money at the level of your skill set. Remember, you make money at the level of your skill set. So if you have a mediocre skill set, you'll make mediocre money. You have a high level skill set, you'll make, right, better money. That's the way it goes. So what are you doing to upgrade your skill sets? Typically, school doesn't upgrade your skill set. Right? It doesn't give you more skills. That's why when you come out with a degree, companies still ask for experience because the experience helps you develop your skill set. The degree is a process of learning and thinking, has nothing to do with the skill set typically. That's why it's hard to make money as a college graduate without the skill set. So what are you doing to upgrade your skill sets? If you're in restaurants right now, if you're a server, if you're a hostess, if you're a busser, if you're a cook, if you're a chef, if you're an owner, how are you upgrading your skill set? How are you upgrading your skill set in marketing? You own a restaurant? Do you market your restaurant well? When I was thinking about it a couple months ago, thinking about purchasing a restaurant, I felt like that was the thing I could hang my hat on. Is I know I could market our restaurant better than any restaurant that's around here. I know I could. I could market the restaurant better than any restaurant that's around here. Just gave me my own business idea just as I was thinking about it. Maybe that's my next business, y'all. Maybe I don't want to buy a restaurant. Maybe I just want to market for the restaurants that are around here because I know I could do it well. I was just going to throw my own hand in it so I could own the whole thing. But like maybe somebody wants to just pay me so I can market their restaurant for them. Potentially. I'm not sure. But again, maybe are you upgrading your skill sets in marketing? Are you upgrading your skill sets in sales? How are you upgrading your skill set? That is what's going to differentiate you. It's going to set you apart. It's going to allow you to disrupt whatever industry. Today we're talking about restaurants. It's going to allow you to learn more so you can make more money, so you can be of more value to people. That's the way it goes. Okay? So learn to disrupt, learn to upgrade your skill sets. Third thing that I'll leave you guys with, you got to shake some new hands. You got to shake some new hands. The restaurant is a great space to shake hands. Your ability to network, your ability to hold a conversation, your ability to build a relationship with someone will take you to your next position. It will take you to your next opportunity. It'll take you to the next way you're going to make money. It's through people. It's through opportunity, right? Like, so you got to shake new hands. If you're working in a restaurant, again, you're a server, you're a bartender, you get a chance to talk to people every day. You should be using that as a platform. Granted, it might not be as many people as you want to, right? Your restaurant might not be that busy that you get to see people all the time. But I promise you, people are walking through that door that you should know. That you should know. You should shake a hand. You should get to know some of these people. You never know who you're serving at your table. Back when I was a server, one of the ways I got my next position is because I served the general manager of a hotel. I didn't know that's what she was, but I just given my normal service and having conversations. And at the end of that, she was like, you got to come work for me. That's how I got my next position. In the restaurant space, there's tons of opportunities like that, y'all. But are you seizing those opportunities? Are you shaking the hands? If you want to make more money, that's what this BizBuzz Live is for. It's for people that say, hey, I want to make some more money. I want to bring in some more income. Go to school, get some higher education. Like that thing ain't working for me. I don't know that I want to be in the trades. So what else do I do? If you're working in restaurants, I gave you some things. Disrupt. Ask more questions. Don't make more statements. Ask more questions. Don't make more statements. Statements close the mind. Question opens the mind. How could I do that? How could this work? How do I? How would I? How can, right? That becomes the question that you start asking yourself versus just complaining. You got to disrupt some things. You got to upgrade your skill sets. That's the second piece of advice. You got to upgrade your skill sets. We make money at the level of our skill set. If you want to make more money, that's what these calls are for. If you want to make more money, you have to get better skill sets. Skill sets in what? That's where we got to get into our industry knowledge. We got to understand what makes money. We got to understand what the world needs. We got to understand some things. Instead of just doom scrolling on LinkedIn and on YouTube and watching funny things, maybe we should take some time to actually dive into like, man, let me do some research around this stuff. Let me upgrade my skill sets. Let me take a course in AI. Let me take a sales course. Let me take a marketing course. Let me get around some people. Let me listen to the right podcast. Like, let me upgrade my skill set if I want to make more money. I'm not just going to sit here and complain that this job is not paying me all that I need it to. I'm going to say, well, I got to get better, upgrade my skill set so I can force people to pay me more money. We make money at the level of our skill set, whatever value you give. Third thing that I told you is you need to shake some new hands. New opportunities lead to new conversations, lead to new money. If you are in the restaurant space and you know it's struggling, you're an owner, you're a server, you're a chef, it doesn't matter. Shake some new hands, have some new conversations. If you're an owner, there might be a collaboration opportunity. If you weren't just in the restaurant all the time and you were shaking some hands with people, there might be a collaboration opportunity. There might be a merging opportunity. There might be a pop-up opportunity. There might be a catering opportunity. There's so many things that are out there, but are you shaking hands? If you're a server, you're a bartender, you're one of the managers, you're a worker, are you shaking hands with the customers? Because I'm sure an investment banker is walking in and sitting at your restaurant. If not, I'm sure the manager down the street at the local retail place is coming in to eat. I'm sure, right, so-and-so's cousin, who's the manager of the shipyard down the road, is looking for somebody. Are you shaking hands? Or are you just there on your phone in your downtime? Are you there just woe is me, the economy is bad, ha ha cat videos every day? It's if we really want to make money, we have to be intentional about it. So shake new hands, shake some new hands, meet some new people. It'll lead to new opportunities, which will lead you to new money. I just gave you 3 practical things that you can do if you want to go off and make more money. If you know your industry is struggling, if you know the restaurant industry is struggling and you're stuck in it, you're like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. We just read 75% of restaurant owners or restaurant workers are living paycheck to paycheck. Well, that's not going to cut it. So what do we need to do? You either disrupt the industry because you got a good idea and you know what to do and you can execute on it. You got to go out and you got to be able to upgrade your skill sets. You got to learn. You got to become better. You're not good at life if you just only have one skill set. Like, you got to have more. And you got to shake some new hands. You got to meet some new people. The people that you're around keep you in the same economic position that you're in. You got to start talking to some more people. That's how we do it, y'all. I know, easier said than done. Easier said than done. I'm never telling you that it's going to be easy to do those things. But what I'm telling you is, if you want to get to the life that you want, if you want to make more money, if you want to bring in more income, this is what you got to go do. All right? That's what you got to go do. Hey, before we wrap up, I want to share this with you guys. Before we wrap up, something that's really special for me and my wife that we just decided to do. We decided to open up our United Agencies Financial Clarity Club over on School. It's a community of people. Again, if you want to understand your money and be in community, you see, there's a difference. And this is why we created this, is because there's so many people that say they want to get better in their finances. There's so many people that are looking for information on the internet, or taking it from their peers, or taking it from their parents, or whatever it is, right? Reading the book on it, but they don't have a community of people. They don't actually have people to hold them accountable that can see that we're all going through the same things. So yes, there becomes a way of like, hey, I need to learn some information around money. But the other side is, I need to be around some people that are all talking about this. We need to start having these conversations around our money. We need to start having these conversations around where we are, right? Like, that becomes the process. And so because of that, thanks for the great word message. I appreciate it. But because of that, right? Because of all those things, we need to be in a place, in a community of people, so that we can all grow together. So that's what we have. Scan that QR code, right? Take a screenshot, go to your phone, right? I saw this on TikTok. Some older lady was like, is it just me? Like, if there's a QR code on the screen, like, how am I supposed to click the QR code? It's like, okay, so here's how you do it, right? In case you didn't know, right? You can screenshot what you just see right here if you are on your phone, and then go to your actual screenshotted, right, like, image. And then if you click the QR code, whether you have an Android or an iPhone, it should open up the link to the QR code. It should do that. So if you just click it, hit the QR code, it's going to open it up. It's going to take you to our Financial Clarity Club. Feel free to join. We're going to be hosting so many different things. You're going to get one-on-one calls. You're going to get group calls. We're going to be able to dive in and hold a monthly like Q&A. So you get to hear, right? A lot of times in this financial space, we just aren't open enough. We don't talk about this stuff enough. We don't communicate about it. We think we're in the silos. When I sit down with people one-on-one, I always have people always tell me what's happening in their financial life, and they make it sound so bad. It's like, oh, I know I shouldn't be, or oh, I know this. And I'm like, yeah, here's what you don't know. Everyone's dealing with the same things. Y'all don't talk to each other. Y'all talk to us. And so when we get all the information and we know everybody's dealing with the same things, it doesn't matter how it looks on the outside. It's literally what's happening for everyone. Then we realize, oh, everyone's dealing with the same things. We need to talk about that. You know how mental health got really big over the past 5-7 years? Why? Because everyone started talking about how they're depressed and how they have anxiety and they deal with the same things, right? We heard that. And by community coming together, we got better. And now the mental health space is big and all the things. Same thing with finances, y'all. We're all dealing with the same things. We need to talk about it in a community of people so that we can collectively get better and have some solutions for some things. So feel free, join that. We're going to do some financial coaching sessions in there. It's going to be really good stuff, y'all. Share that with some people that you know want to get their finances better. But for all of you, again, click that screen QR code, right? Screenshot it, click that QR code. It'll get you into our United Agency Financial Clarity Club. You won't want to miss out, y'all. It's going to be a big deal. Appreciate y'all for joining us on this BizBuzz Live this Friday. Again, we're coming to you every single Friday, having these conversations around what we got to do to earn money. If the way they taught us to earn money is not helping us, then we need to learn a new way to earn money. And that's what we're here to do, y'all. So stick around, come back next Friday. Happy Memorial Day for all of you that will be celebrating, or if the weather is nice, you're going to the pool or barbecuing. I'm not sure what you're doing. But enjoy your weekend, enjoy your holiday, and I'll see you guys back here on next Friday, with another conversation on BizBuzz. Until next time, peace.